If you're in your 20s and you're watching this video, these are the top 5 things that you need to become successful. And I'm 25 years old. I see a lot of people buying a lot of stupid stuff that ultimately is holding them back from success. So make sure you stay till the end of the video. One of the biggest things that I wished I would have started doing and bought back in the day was a good journal. You're probably like, Austin, it's a little girly. Do I really have to keep a journal and buy a journal, in my 20s? Especially if you're an alpha male, I totally understand, okay? But I'll tell you one thing. I've built a couple of companies, I've made a little bit of money, I've made some good investments in my life, and having a journal has been a massive part of my success so far by the age of 25. One of the biggest reasons that I personally love keeping a journal is I get to write down my goals every single day, and I get to visualize those goals on a daily basis. And there's literally statistics that talk about this. You're actually 42% more likely to achieve your goals by writing them down and visualizing them on a daily basis. Another really big reason that I like having a journal is I get to look back and I get to really look at my progress. If you're anything like me, you're an entrepreneur, you're a visionary, you're somebody that wants to achieve success. Obviously, that is why you're watching the video. I'll tell you one thing is for certain, that every time I end up hitting a milestone, my brain automatically goes to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and I ultimately forget where I came from, and I'll find myself being ungrateful as a result of just simply not remembering where in the world I just came from. So by writing down and taking just a couple of quick minutes every single day to write down how your day is going, what you're grateful for, what your goals are, and just ultimately just jotting a few things down, you don't have to spend a lot of time. It ultimately allows me, at least, to look back and say, man, I've come a long ways since December of 2019. I've come a long ways since December of 2018. Even looking a month at a time and looking back at the previous month and just saying, wow, I've come a long ways. Or maybe you haven't come a long ways, and ultimately you get to look at your progress every single day. And I know for me, that has been extremely true over the years. Every day I wake up in the morning and I write down my goals for the day. I jot down my thoughts, I jot down some of my ideas, and a lot of what I've written down over the years has actually manifested itself into the physical reality that I live in. So go ahead and check this out for a minute. There's a ton of scientific studies on keeping a journal and writing in it every single day, and it isn't girly at all. For all you guys out there that want to become successful, you want to make a lot of money, you want to drive the car of your dreams, live in the house of your dreams, start a business, whatever it is that you want to do, there's obvious benefits such as being more mindful, having better memory, having better communication skills, but studies have also shown that keeping a journal can lead to better sleep, a stronger immune system, more self-confidence, and a higher IQ. Writing in a journal every day has definitely helped me become more disciplined over the years. It's something that I can really do every day and hold myself accountable to doing that task. And that is honestly a huge thing in your 20s. Ultimately, in your 20s, when you want to become successful, a lot of it pertains to building good habits, good daily habits. And you hear this all the time. There's a million books out there that talk about, having good habits. But I promise you, these little things day in and day out will ultimately lead to your dream life. I really encourage you, if you're in your 20s, do not overlook the little things. If I've learned one thing on my journey to becoming successful so far, and don't get me wrong, I'm nowhere close to that goal because it isn't a goal. It isn't an end destination. It is ultimately the journey. But I promise you this, the little things will lead to the big thing, right? It isn't just like this magical day you wake up in the morning and you've got the girl of your dreams and the house of your dreams and the car of your dreams. That isn't how it works. It is the little things day in and day out, such as journaling, such as getting a little workout in, such as eating healthy, such as making your bed. There's all of these little things every day that you'll do that will ultimately lead to you becoming successful. Now, you don't need some fancy bullet journal. You can literally write in anything. Now, if you want to get a nice journal, then definitely go ahead. I highly recommend it because it might make it a little bit more enjoyable for you. You can get yourself a nice pen that you enjoy writing with, or even a couple of highlighters or a couple of different colored markers so you can really track your thoughts. But what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't overcomplicate it. I see some videos on YouTube. It's more women, okay, than it is men, but where they'll go all crazy fancy with it. And I think that takes away a little bit from the overall purpose of writing in a journal. So again, the purpose is to be disciplined, to do it every day, to jot down your thoughts, to write down your goals, and ultimately to give you something to look at every day and to look back at literally every single day, every week, and every month. So whatever it is that you decide to write in, whether it be a simple $1 notebook from Walmart or you get a full-blown bullet journal, it really doesn't matter. It is the idea area that matters, but I do recommend that every single 20-year-old gets a journal immediately. The second thing that every single 20-year-old needs is a good quality mattress. It is essential in your 20s that you get a good night's rest every single night so that you can operate at the highest possible level. If you're somebody that is ultimately trying to achieve a big goal, you're trying to achieve some ultimate destination that's truly amazing, then you have to get a good night's sleep. There are a ton of scientific studies that show that a good quality mattress will literally lower stress levels, decrease allergies, eliminate back pain, and overall give you a better night's sleep. And let's be honest, a good quality mattress can literally last you a decade, so you may as well go ahead and bite the bullet in your 20s because this should last you well into your 30s. And your 20s are so important if you want to become successful. You'll hear a lot of the big gurus like Gary Vaynerchuk talk about how he just grinded it out in his 20s and just went all out and just worked every single day. And don't get me wrong, you can definitely have fun in your 20s, but I promise you that if you become determined in your 20s, if you develop some good habits in your 20s, if you make some good investments in your 20s and ultimately take your 20s seriously, it'll literally set you up for the rest of your life. So you might be looking at a brand new mattress right now and it seems expensive, but again, this is gonna last you a very long time, and I highly recommend it for any 20-year-old that maybe isn't getting a good night's sleep and ultimately, therefore, you're groggy throughout the day and you're not performing at your best. You'll hear guys like Tony Robbins that say literally that you have to operate at a peak performance level every single day. Life and success is a mental game, and the day that you figure that out is the day that you can become successful beyond your wildest imagination. There's an article I was reading talking about how the Cleveland Clinic actually said that missing about 90 minutes of sleep from the recommended allotment of about 7 hours will literally cause you to be less alert, impair your memory, cause trouble in your relationships and overall quality of life, and increase the likelihood of having a car accident. And if you're anything like me, you probably think that you can just go all day, every day, you can just drink a bunch of coffee, and you're young, right? I mean, you don't need to get a lot of sleep. You can sleep 3, 4, 5 hours. You'll sleep later on in life. And trust me when I say I did that for a long time, and I promise you that you'll get more done as an entrepreneur, as somebody that wants to be successful, a business person, whatever it is that you want to do. You'll get more done if you just take a little bit of extra time for yourself. And it seems contradictory because you're like, well, how am I going to get everything done, right? You're busy and ultimately you just started a brand new career or whatever it is. But I promise you, if you just get a quality mattress and take a little bit of time to designate for sleep, to eat healthy, to go to the gym, to do the things that we're talking about, you'll ultimately live a much more successful life literally later on. There's a ton of affordable mattresses out there, so hopefully you can find one that is definitely of a good quality that you can ultimately afford. Now, if you can't afford a good mattress, then I would go ahead and start with at least investing in a good quality pillow, okay? I know you've probably been there. You get a bad night's sleep because you slept on the wrong side and you wake up and you just literally, your neck is messed up, okay? That happened to me a few weeks ago, and I promise it's the worst thing in the entire world, and it'll literally destroy like a week of your life. And sometimes it's just a pillow altogether. You might have a really good quality mattress, but you don't have a good quality pillow, and ultimately as a result of that, you're getting terrible sleep. So you definitely want to look at that and make sure that you take care of that problem in your 20s, because this will make a massive difference. The third thing that, in my opinion, every single 20-year-old needs is a good quality laptop. Now, having a laptop will be a total game changer, and it can be used for so many different things, but you definitely want to invest in a good laptop in your 20s. It can obviously be used for work, it can be used for leisure, it can be used to look at investment opportunities as you get a little bit older, it can be used to ultimately apply for jobs. You can literally use a laptop for just about anything. There's even a ton of side hustles going into 2021 that you can literally make money with by just owning a laptop. And a lot of people, they have a phone, and you're probably watching this YouTube video right now on your phone, but I promise you, even watching my YouTube videos or somebody else's YouTube videos on a laptop makes smashing the like button a whole heck of a lot easier. I mean, ultimately, the like button is just so little on your phone. It's bigger and easier if you're on a laptop. Look, we live in 2021, and everywhere you go has Wi-Fi. You can go to a good coffee shop nearby. You can go pretty much anywhere that'll have good Wi-Fi, and having a good, reliable piece of technology, whether you're just checking your email, you're looking into different side hustles, you're looking into eventually investing your money, whatever it is that you're doing, in your 20s, ultimately, having that laptop will be a total game changer for you. And maybe you're somebody that wants to start a business. Maybe you're somebody that is gonna go to college online. And maybe you're somebody that wants to start an online business. Maybe you're an upcoming artist. Maybe you wanna go ahead and you wanna write blog posts. Maybe you wanna become a YouTuber. There are so many reasons why having that good quality laptop will change the game for you. And ultimately, it'll allow you to be mobile, right? Maybe you don't wanna work from home that day and you have like an iMac or a desktop version of a computer sitting at home, but you wanna go and you wanna work from a coffee shop. You wanna meet other people. You wanna get out and you wanna socialize, and ultimately having that laptop will allow you to be able to do just that. This is something that, in my opinion, will maximize your overall efficiency. I myself have a desktop, but then I wanna go ahead and I wanna go to a coffee shop and I wanna work and I wanna mingle and I wanna interact with people. I'll always end up taking my laptop. And maybe you're a student, and owning a laptop will give you the flexibility and the freedom to work on assignments, to work on your homework, to do research, literally wherever. Maybe you wanna go in your dorm room, or you wanna go in your buddy's dorm room, or you wanna go somewhere else and you wanna work on your laptop and you wanna get your schoolwork done. Having a laptop overall will make becoming successful so much simpler, so much easier, and you'll be a lot more efficient during the process. I mean, it is 2021 after all. We just got through a global pandemic. Everybody's doing Zoom calls and you're doing Zoom interviews and Zoom everything, and having that laptop will make it a lot easier to do all of that. And you can do things on your phone, but it makes things really difficult. I know for me, when I'm filming a YouTube video or I'm doing research or I'm typing a document, you know, just having my laptop and being able to do that wherever I want makes life a lot more simple and a lot easier. You know, I'm able to work from my couch if I want. I'm able to work from my desk. I'm able to work from a coffee shop. I'm really able to even travel the world and ultimately still get work done while traveling. And that might not be something you do a lot of, obviously, right now, but I can bet you that in the next couple of months, when the world eventually goes back to normal, everybody's gonna start traveling a whole heck of a lot more. Pretty much everything that I do for business is done online. It's done virtually. I'm constantly signing documents virtually. I'm checking my email virtually. I pretty much do everything virtually. I mean, I'm in the real estate business and I don't even sign physical documents anymore. I don't think I would be where I'm at today at 25 years old had I not invested in a good laptop. And it's kind of like a mattress. A good laptop will probably last you, honestly, 5 to 10 years, depending on what kind of laptop you get. So I definitely encourage you, if you're 20 years old or in your 20s at all, investing in a good laptop will probably end up changing your life for the better. So the next two are gonna be pretty big, so I would really appreciate it if you haven't already, just taking just a quick minute and just smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into number 4, and that is having reliable transportation, or in other words, going ahead and investing in a good car. I remember growing up and I remember having all these buddies that would just buy like, it would either be one end of the spectrum or the other, right? They would either buy like a really cheap beater car, or they would go buy like a luxurious car that they couldn't afford. And I would just encourage you to go somewhere right down the middle. I would encourage you to buy a good, reliable car. And this is gonna serve a lot of purposes if you're in your 20s. I get asked all the time, people are like, Austin, how do I get taken seriously in my 20s? You know, people that, they wanna become successful. They wanna be a real estate agent or a real estate investor. They ultimately just wanna get taken seriously. And I know for me, one of the biggest ways that I get taken seriously is by showing up to any meetings that I go to, or pretty much anywhere I go in public when I'm meeting with older people, that I show up in a nice, clean car. Ultimately, when I get out of a nice, clean car, I just automatically feel like people respect me a whole lot more. And obviously, you need a reliable source of transportation anyways. You need a car that when you walk down out of your apartment building or you walk out of your house, it's gonna start every single time, so you're not missing meetings, you're not missing the important things in life. The last thing you wanna be doing is jumping your car every time it doesn't start, or having to call a buddy, or take public transportation, or take an Uber or a Lyft. Because missing an important meeting, or missing a job interview, or missing something very important like that will definitely hurt your chances of becoming successful. Now, obviously, I want you to consider good gas mileage, cheap insurance, good overall low maintenance, and you definitely don't want to buy a car with like 200,000 miles on it that's completely falling apart. But you also don't want to buy a car that you can't afford either, and a car that maybe costs way too much money in insurance, has horrible gas mileage, or ultimately is just extremely expensive to fix. It really just depends on where you're at in your your life in your 20s, you know, me personally, I went ahead and invested in a Tesla Model 3. It is overall a fairly cheap car. It's extremely cost efficient for me personally because I charge it at my apartment complex. I never have to fix it when it breaks down because it's under warranty, and I never have to go to the gas station and fill it up with gas. So for me personally, it makes all of the sense in the world to drive a Tesla. But again, if a Tesla is out of your budget, then definitely don't get a Tesla. But you can get a base model Tesla for probably anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000. It doesn't really matter what you get, again, as long as you can afford it and as long as it's a good, reliable car. The last thing that you need in your 20s to become successful is a good quality savings account. Now, I know this is not the most exciting thing in the world, and you're like, Austin, are you freaking serious? Like, you couldn't have done anything a little bit more exciting, but I promise you, having a good quality savings account in your 20s will set you up for a better future. Now, while having a savings account isn't gonna necessarily get you wealthy overnight, it isn't gonna make you rich overnight, it is definitely gonna help you develop good money habits in your 20s that'll ultimately lead to you potentially making a lot of money in your life. Formulating a savings account and having a good emergency fund and having 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside will ultimately allow you and be the first step for you to go ahead and start making investments, which we'll obviously talk about in another video. So if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing to my channel and smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. But really, having a good savings account is the first step to financial freedom, because you can't go ahead and invest in real estate or the stock market or anything like that until you have a little bit of money set aside for a rainy day. And you've probably heard a lot of people talk about it, like Dave Ramsey and all sorts of other people, but they're really not kidding around. Now, I really encourage you to get a savings account that has the highest possible interest that you possibly can. Savings accounts in general aren't gonna have the highest interest in the world, but you definitely still need one. So if you could get a good savings account between 0.5% in interest a year and a 1% interest rate, you're not doing too shabby depending on the economics of the world, depending on when you're watching the video. You can also open a good savings account with a good online bank without actually having to go in person to the brick and mortar bank. And you can use your laptop to open up your high interest savings account online. So once you go ahead and you get a savings account, I would just take a percentage of every single paycheck that you get or any income that you get and just put it in that savings account. The moment that you start getting good at that and you develop good money habits, then that'll allow you to go ahead and make good quality investments for your future. But you've got to start somewhere. And a lot of people, they look at the staircase in front of them, especially in their 20s, and I've definitely done this a lot in my life, where they look all the way up at the top of the stairs and they forget that in order to get all the way up there, you've got to take the first step. You can't just skip the stairway. And a lot of people, they look at Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and they see people, you know, that are maybe driving a Lamborghini or a Mercedes or a Ferrari or living in a big house, and you want to do that right now. But I promise you that even those people, they started exactly where you're at right now. They started by going ahead and getting reliable transportation, by journaling every day, by getting a good night's rest, by opening up a savings account, and ultimately by doing the little things day in and day out. They took the first step of life. They took that first step in their 20s so that by the time they became 30, 40, or 50 years old, they were ultimately successful, which we'll talk about on my channel in a future video. So again, if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would just go ahead and subscribe to my channel, where I'm typically talking about real estate, the stock market, how to make money, save money, invest your money, and everything you need to know. Also, I'm gonna link a couple of things in the link down in the description below, so definitely go check that out. And if you haven't already, check out my brand new podcast where I interview cool people all around the world, and we also talk about life, about business, and about money. I really appreciate you for watching the video. Definitely drop in the comments section below what you think you're gonna buy in 2021 to ultimately set yourself up for success. Thanks again, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.